Yeah, that's where you apply for your pension number.
So Skasabiake, that is a Swedish tax agency, and that's where you register yourself in Sweden.
But the environment at the immigration's office was very hostile. You said it, not me.
You did not hear me.
Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am KB and this is Expert Living with KB. On this channel, we share everything about living in the north of Sweden as a PhD student.
This is KB's channel, Expert Living with KB, and she talks about life in Sweden as a PhD student and life in general in Sweden.
Yes.
Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for watching her video. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. And if you are new here, join this family, subscribe, and click on the notification bell.
And that's on per. Yes guys, that's what we do on this channel. All things living in Sweden. So today, we're going to talk about stuff to consider before moving to the north of Sweden, or to Sweden in general. If you're coming here to pursue a PhD, if you're coming here for employment, but obviously our points of reference will come from our experience, which is coming here to pursue a PhD. So join us. We hope that you enjoy the video. We hope that you will find it useful. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share the video with your friends, your families, and everyone you know, because it helps us grow the community and reach more people. So let's get right into it. And on this video, I'm joined again by Salome.
Me.
Yes, Salome is going to be having a conversation with us and just talking about the different things to consider before moving here. And I think we bring
different perspectives.
Yeah, different perspectives, because you came here way before me and under different circumstances. And yes, okay, so that's great. Do you want to introduce yourself and then we can get into the video?
Yes, if I have to introduce myself again, it means you didn't watch the previous video. So watch all our videos, watch all KB's videos. So my name is Salome and I am a PhD student as well in Sweden. I study economics and I am joining KB today on this video. What more should I say? Watch the previous video for a proper introduction.
Yes, okay. Let's get into it.
Oh, yeah.
So the first thing to do, as soon as you have received your university admission, or should I say you have been offered the position for the PhD, or perhaps even you've been offered employment.
Yeah.
The first thing is to apply for the residence permit well in advance. Do not wait until the 11th hour, because it takes a while and it's just going to frustrate you having to wait and wait and wait, and probably your starting date would pass and you still haven't gotten your permit. So I think that's probably the first thing that you should do.
Yeah, and I think the 11th hour here means 1 month. You should do this like
3-4 months
earlier.
Yeah, if you can, depending obviously on how soon you get your offer of employment. Another point to consider is if you're going to be relocating with family, with your wife, your husband, your spouse, your sambo, or maybe you wanna so a sambo is people who aren't married, like a cohabitating couple. So that's what they're called in Sweden. So you do have, even as if your relocation as a PhD student, you do have the option to bring a loved one. And so you can apply for their residence permit at the same time as you apply for your residence permit. And I would also advise that you do it as soon as possible. In the best case scenario, you do it at the same time as you apply for yours in advance, so that you guys all get it at the same time.
Yes, and I mean this also goes for children. If you have children, of course you can apply together with your whole family.
Yes. And there are different requirements, financial requirements that are needed for each family member that you might have to show. But I think I might have mentioned it in one of my videos, so you could go and look at that. I'll probably link the video. You can also visit the Migrationsverket website, and that's where you'll get all the information on migration issues.
Yes, and this kind of information is free. Of course, you can pay an agent if you want to, but then it's all online. You can easily access.
For sure. And another point to consider, I think, is accommodation. Accommodation is a nightmare. Do you want to tell everybody how you have to get accommodation in Sweden? It was a nightmare for me, and it continues to be. So, do you want to share?
Even before we talk about accommodation or what, if you don't have, there are certain things or like requirements. I don't even know how to say it.
Don't even get me started with the pension number.
You need a pension number, a personal identification number, before you
can apply for a house. To
apply for accommodation.
But you know what the gag is? You can't get a pension number before you come to Sweden.
Yeah. So that is why you need to apply for your residence permit
well in advance.
Yes, and then you can speak to your case officer. If you have been offered employment, you can talk to your supervisors as a PhD student or your boss if you have employment, and they will help you with that, because they have to help you with relocation as well. So you can talk to them.
Yeah. And as soon as you have received your what they call the decision, even before you actually go and get your biometrics done to get your residence permit itself, as soon as you've gotten the decision, you can already ask for a coordination number, which is like a temporary pension number, just so that you can register on accommodation websites. Because what Sweden does, they use a queuing system for accommodation. So it's not like, for instance, where I come from, where you go in, you bid almost for an accommodation, or you show interest, and if you first come first serves essentially. But here it's not just that. Your point system, they use a point system, so the longer you have registered on the website, the more preference you have in terms of the accommodate, maybe an apartment that you show interest in. So it's very important that as soon as you've decided that, okay, I'm moving to Sweden for my PhD or for my employment, register on these different websites. And I will link some of the ones that I like, Båstad, and Hemstaden, and what's the other one?
Yeah, even
there's
Blockets.
You
can get rentals on Blockets as well.
Yes, so definitely already register on these websites. But like I've said, you can't register on these websites without a pension number. So as soon as you get, for instance, your decision, ask for a coordination number and sign up on these websites, because it is a nightmare getting accommodation here. Luleå, for instance, Luleå is not an incredibly big city, but you would swear it is because you can't even get accommodation. So
and I think one thing to notice, if you are coming as a student, whether for your master's or your PhD, you will be told, all right, through your application process and when you get your position, about accommodation. So you'll be given different students options. So if you don't have your pension number yet, they would require your employment letter or your admission letter, to give you. And with that, they have some details, something to be sure that you are coming here as a student. So as a student, you are sort of assured that you are going to get a place, but then you should join the queue on time. As soon as you get your decision about your employment as a PhD student or your admission letter as a master's student, you should join the queue for student housing. You can join a number of accommodation or housing or students' houses queue, so that you can be assured that you get a place here.
Yeah, but maybe tell them that if they're coming with a family, they're not eligible. With a family with children, they're not eligible for student housing.
They are, just that
the
depends on the size of your family and the size of the apartment.
Accommodation.
Yeah, because you can there is a particular number of people who can be registered to a certain size, like square meters of apartment or house. And if especially they are over 18, then I don't know, it depends on the size of your family and the size of the accommodation. It may be okay to you, right, that you would share a 2-bedroom apartment with a large number of people, but then the Swedish system will not permit you to keep kids in to keep a number of family in a small place. And normally students housing or students accommodation is just 1 bedroom, right? It's normally just 1 bedroom. You can have a studio apartment, or you can have a 1-room apartment, that is your bedroom separated from your kitchen and living area. But no matter how big that 1-room apartment, that is a separate bedroom apartment is, you may not be allowed to have your children
in that space.
In that space.
Yeah, and I think also something to consider before you move here is, since we're on the topic of accommodation, it is expensive. Housing here is expensive. I moved from Germany and I used to complain about the rent. When I came here, and I was like, Germany was so cheap.
Yeah.
The apartment where I lived was, I think, this is slightly bigger. I think the apartment was like 29 square meters, and I paid 3,000. Well, it was 300 euros, so it was about 3.4 to 3,400 SEK.
Oh.
And here I pay for something similar. It's slightly bigger. It has nicer finishes, of course, and that's what I like. I'm not sure if all apartments are like this in Sweden, but at least the one that I got, it really has nice modern finishes. It has a separate closet room, so that's something that I also liked. But I know I paid upwards of 8,000. Okay. So that's expensive.
That is expensive.
So it's more than double the amount I was paying in Germany for almost the same size.
Yeah, and this building is new. That is why it's expensive, because when I was staying in the students' housing, I used to pay around 4,000 Swedish crowns for, that was, I think, 27 square meters. Yeah, it was an open studio.
Oh no, you know what? Sorry, I just realized that I was wrong. My apartment was 29 square meters. This one is 40. So it's 42 actually. So it's 2 times. It's almost two times the amount. So
okay, yeah.
But if you, but anyway, you can just kind of look at the numbers yourself.
And I mean, there are different options. Talking about where I used to stay and this place here, it's like this building is newer than where I was, so we don't have like it didn't have nice finishes, even though everything worked. You have a stove, you have kitchen counters. It doesn't, and you have a bed, there is a sofa, there is dining tables. Most of the rooms come finished, because a lot of people are coming in, like traveling, whether you're coming from Sweden or out of Sweden, you're not coming with your own furniture, unless you want to bring something that you like, something that screams home to you. But most of the students' accommodations have come finished. So that isn't something you should worry about, but you should come with your beddings, like
of course.
Bring something.
But this is for students.
What
about, well, I guess if you're a PhD, you also qualify as a student, because you do qualify for student housing if that's what you want. But I imagine maybe some people who come to do their PhDs don't want to feel like a student. They feel like, I'm an employee, I want something more stable, and most people come with family.
But the thing with that is that for me, when I first hear that someone is a PhD student, I used to consider this person as a student. Until I came to Sweden and realized that
they're like, no, actually you are a
full-grown adult. You are a student 100%, and you are a staff 100%. That is why you are qualified for students discount, student housing, and everything that relates to student. But then you are still paid for your job, and it's not like giving a stipend.
It's actually a salary.
It's a salary. So you can, did I say salary or salary? So yeah, you can still go for student housing, but if you realize at some point that you want to move out, of course you can do that, but I would suggest that you go for student housing to get your foot
settled.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one thing that people do a lot here in Sweden out is Facebook markets.
Yes.
You can get accommodation on Facebook markets as well. So
but that's also very tricky because this most of the time on Facebook market it's second-hand contracts, and it's very risky in the sense that if it's not, there isn't a lot of security attached to it. People can always change the terms of the contract, and I think there's no legal obligation for them not to. So you as the tenant that would be taking up a secondary or a second-hand contract, it's very risky for you. And personally, if it's for somebody who just moved to Sweden who doesn't understand what's happening, I wouldn't quite recommend that.
That's true.
But sometimes that's the only option available because the official systems you have to queue for God knows how long, and so you need somewhere to stay in the meantime.
And it's very difficult if you're coming here for a different type of employment that is not academia or that doesn't have to do with the students, because you really have to join the queue. And most of the time, some companies have guest houses for their new employees coming from from abroad. Yes, because they know how hard it is. So talk to whoever your employers are, and then they can help you with accommodation. Students, your queuing system is not too long because you come in at the beginning of the academic year where people have already graduated and moved out. So there are new openings. So it's not too difficult, just that you may not get a place on time. And when you get a place, be sure about the start dates, the dates, like the first date of occupancy. Because I remember when I first got my date, I had to plan my travel around that time because I was already in Sweden, but then I had to come from Gothenburg to Luleå, and the date that I was given was in the summer, was in July. So I had to decline that post, like that accommodation, and get something for August, because I wasn't going to come and stay here the whole of the summer break when nothing was happening.
Is it because you didn't take it because you had to pay for rent for July?
Yes, and I have to pay for rent for July when I have a place to stay already. But some people would pay for that rent just to secure. That's
what I did for this place, because at the time I was still waiting for my residence permit, but I could already realize just how much of a struggle it was to get accommodation or even just get on any of the websites. So I was just like, I'm gonna pay rent, even if at that point I didn't even know that I had the decision. I just knew that I got the employment and I'm just gonna get the apartment. So that's something that I did. I'm not sure if it's smart, but I mean, everybody can use their own discretion. I just like that feeling of safety to know that, okay, I have a place to go to when I do travel, especially when you're literally uprooting your whole life to go to a place you've never been before. I think that kind of security is really important. And but talking about, I'm not sure if that's the case everywhere, but as far as I know, 1 month in the summer, if you're staying at a student accommodation, you do not pay rent. Is that only in June or the year after you have moved into the accommodation?
I think it's the year after you have moved into the accommodation. Then you get your summer free. I think it's 2 months in the summer. I'm not
I think it's something like that, because I thought I was getting there like, no, you don't stay in a student accommodation. I was like, because I was like, 2 months free rent.
This is not a student accommodation.
No, apparently not.
Because it started off, because this place was open, I think, like 3 years ago when I started, and they said it was going to be like new students.
No, they said, so number 7, in the other side of the building, where there's like these twin apartments, those are the rooms that qualify for summer free rent, but these ones, like don't qualify. I was so hacked. But speaking of, still on the conversation of accommodation, we're actually talking about perhaps people might want to bring, maybe the smart thing to do is, once you have now found the accommodation, hopefully, you should probably look at what the accommodation has. As Salome has already said, most of the accommodation is furnished, but you might need to bring your own linen. And I was actually saying you might even want to bring your own curtains if you're coming in the summer when the sun doesn't set or when it doesn't get dark. Maybe bring blackout curtains. They can be very expensive here. So if you're coming from South Africa somewhere, get Mema Mamang to hook you up with some curtains, because they can be very expensive here. And I think it's when you just move to a space, you don't need expenses like that, especially because we now go into the conversation of the Peshun number. Because you don't have a Peshun number, you cannot open a bank account. It means you might not be paid for the first month, or if you get paid, it's going to be delayed because they're going to have to clear it with your international account. So you just don't want that kind of stress. So if you can, pack stuff like curtains, pack linen, pack food, like snacks, stuff that is going to be easy for you to carry.
Buying stuff, don't think that you can buy stuff with cash. Most of the shops do not accept cash, so you should know that you are not going to change your currency here and do all of that. It doesn't work. And like KB said, check what the apartment has. Some apartments already have curtains or they have blinds, so they let you know. In most of the students' apartments, they let you know, and they let you know if the kitchen also has utensils. And be careful the kind of utensils you are going to be bringing from your home country into Sweden, because of the stove that we have. Some utensils are not compatible with the stove, so they would be useless, redundant.
Yeah, exactly. And in keeping with the conversation of the Peshunamar, that thing traumatized me. You can't, and in keeping with that conversation and the conversation of money, not being able to use cash, you need Swish in this country. If you don't use your card, well, you can use your card, but some places don't even have like a speed point, so they would prefer that you Swish their accounts. So Swish is like a
money transfer.
It's like like a money transfer thing. If you're from South Africa, it's like the e-wallet equivalent of Swish is the equivalent of is it e-wallet? Yeah, but it's an instant money transfer between people that you can use. And guess what? You can't have a Swish without bank ID. Do you know what a bank ID requires? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you need a Peshun.
No, you know what a bank ID requires? It requires that you have a bank account, because your bank ID is linked to your bank account. You know what you need to open a bank account? A Peshun number. The joys of Peshun number.
If you don't have a Peshun number, it's like you are not in the system of Sweden.
You do not exist.
No. So that is why you can't just travel. Maybe you have a Schengen visa. You can't just travel into Sweden and get lost in the system, because you can't do anything without a Peshun number. And then they get you, like they would see you arrived in the country this date for this purpose, and then you don't have the right to stay. You are being deported. Yeah,
guys, the Peshun number is so like. It's required in everything in Sweden. They even require it when you sign up for a loyalty program at the grocery store. It's like, why do you guys want to know everything that is tied to me?
You know, when I first came to Sweden and I went to this church, they said the Peshun number works like the 666.
Right?
Yeah, and actually, like, that's how it works.
They're tagging you.
But then it is. I mean, it works like the way we have heard that the 666 works. Without it, you can't do anything. You can't buy, you can't sell, you can't have a house, you can't have an apartment, like nothing.
Yeah. Peshun number. So that's the first thing we started with. Apply quickly, get a coordination number so you can start with the process. And then now going back to what you should maybe consider coming with, we said look at what your apartment offers, pack some non-perishables that you can, bring your vitamins, especially if you're coming in the winter. Bring your vitamin D, bring your vitamin C, bring your iron, like get stocked up, because those things I don't know if I could say they're expensive, but like I said, if you just move to a country you don't want and you don't have very big savings, you do not want to be spending on such stuff. And you wanted to talk about clothes.
Yes, I would say clothes because for me it was one big thing. You know, I used to see all these girlies in different parts of the US talking about winter and then taking all these cute pictures. But their winter is like, it's not even spring.
Yeah,
it's not.
You know what? You're right. But have you seen some of these girlies here? Or maybe it's just younger kids and they just don't give a damn.
No, it's pressure from school.
It's pressure. I'm like, aren't you cold?
No, if you dress too cold, you're not cool.
Yeah, but I'm just like, maybe it's a young people thing.
Yeah, I was told
here I am sounding like a middle-aged woman.
That is what we are. I mean, I'm told that like for the teenagers, if you dress too cold, if your shoes are still white, you are not cool. That's why they have like dirty sneakers. Like that's why they wear like the dirty sneakers. Otherwise, you are not cool. Okay. So my colleagues were telling me that that's how it was for some of them who are like still a little bit younger. That's how it was for them. Yeah. So you see people walking about. Not even talking about Sweden, but well, even coming to Sweden, you don't copy the young people when you see them walking to feeling when they look warm. And even when you want to copy someone's jacket or stuff, please, you don't know how expensive it is. You don't know how warm it is. Like the technology for that particular outfit or that jacket is really warm for the weather. So if you think it looks very simple, like just a normal trench coat,
it probably isn't. It probably isn't just the normal one. Yeah, so it's very important to invest in good warm clothing, especially when you come from the south like us. Can get pretty warm, and I mean we experience cold winters but not as cold as this, so yes, invest in good warm clothing.
And if you're going to come as a student, you're going to come after like the summer probably, unless you want to come early to get yourself into the Swedish society environment. Then you come maybe in July or August, and then you can experience the warmth and
then transition into.
And that way you don't have to bring a lot of winter clothes, because trust me, if you haven't experienced winter, the kind of winter clothes you're going to bring is not going to. You won't survive in those clothes. You won't survive. So you come here and then you buy your winter clothes, your jackets, your shoes, your overalls, if you need those things.
But pro tip, I would say buy those things in the summer. Because they get cheaper. Really expensive in the winter. So, and I'm just trying to save some coin.
And you just arrived in this country, you want to save a lot. But talking about savings, like life in Sweden is expensive.
It's so expensive. Breathing in Sweden is expensive.
The cost of living is high. Standard of living is high. So I would say that just put away your phones converting currencies for a while. You would do it. Like you would think about it. You would be concerned. But this is how it is. You wouldn't get it cheaper in a different store unless there is RIA. If you see RIA written anywhere, just walk in there. Sale. So just walk in there and buy. Otherwise, like that is the general price.
Yes. So the next thing that you should probably take with you is, if you're a black girl, an African girl with curly hair, you probably want to bring products from back home. Lots of them if you can. bring everything. Like bring extensions if you're an extension person. Bring moisturizers, conditioners,
hair oil, wigs. If you want to bring a scarf, bring all of that.
Bring. If you think it's enough, it's not enough. Bring more.
Because it's expensive. Apart from being expensive, it is very hard to find.
It's very hard to find. And if you find it, it's like, it's not the one.
No,
it's not the kind of quality that you need. It's very, even when you find like moisturizers, they're very, because I think they also have to, I guess, they're catering for the majority of the people here, which are Caucasian people, and their hair's very silky and they don't like a lot of oil in their hair. That's what I've come to realize. So even the oils, it's like, I don't know, it's like,
it's not oily enough.
It's watered down.
The oil is not oily. You know?
The oil is not oily. So do that for yourself, because why in...
And if you know how to braid your own hair, it's a plus.
If you haven't learned that, start doing it now. As soon as you start applying, start learning how to braid your own hair.
Because this kind of services are expensive.
Yeah.
They are expensive to ask someone to braid your hair. I mean, the lowest you can get someone to do your hair for is 800 crowns.
Exactly.
And that is not cheap money.
It is not cheap at all.
And it doesn't come with extensions.
Extensions, like they don't even wash your hair for you. You have to wash your hair for yourself. That is so painful. So go for like hair making course. Do something, girl, because it's gonna be a ride up here.
I think something else to think about when you're coming about electronics is about your sockets. How do you call that? Your plugs. And adapters, because we have this. This is the European one, right? Or is it? It's not everywhere in Europe.
I'm actually not sure anymore. But just look at the difference. Just Google the differences.
You can bring a universal adapter to help you charge your devices. Otherwise, you will be very stranded.
Yes. And perhaps the first thing that you should do when we land is to buy a SIM card, because it might, so that you're connected to the internet. If you have access to a modem, wireless modem, maybe get that before, just so that you have it until you sort out your Wi-Fi issues. And another thing that I think is very important is to ensure that if you haven't already, start saving. If you want to come to this country, have savings. Have savings. That's all I'm gonna say. Have savings.
I know that for those who are coming as students, they ask the question, so when I come, can I come and work and then take care of myself? No, you can't. I mean
you can, but
I wouldn't advise it. If you don't have any form of what?
You're like, no, you can't do that.
No, it's stressful.
I can imagine.
It's stressful to be studying 100%, all right? And then if you don't have scholarship, because you can have tuition free, you can have a tuition scholarship, but then you don't have the full scholarship that will give you stipend at the end. And this stipend is good because it can pay for your rent, and then you can have enough money for like food and stuff. That is if you're coming as a master's student.
Right. As
a PhD, you are paid. If you're coming for a different type of employment, you are still paid. So you are covered.
No, but even with a PhD, yes, you're gonna get a nice salary that you will be able to do everything. But please have savings for at least 2 months.
Because if
moving to a place is
you wouldn't get your pension number on time.
You must budget 3 months. You must budget 3 months for the pension number. So have like minimum 3 months savings, so that when you're sorting out your payment stuff, your salary stuff, at least you're not starving to death.
Yeah, and then you can borrow money from other people and then transfer. I mean, you can. Well, I know people do, and then they'll borrow money because I know you have employment.
Oh, from back home, you mean?
Oh no, if you have savings from back home and then you come to Sweden because you need to survive and you don't have a pension number, so you need to survive, right? So you can borrow money from. I cannot say your colleagues. I mean, find a person who looks like you and borrow money from them and pay them. You can pay them from your bank account. If the exchange rate is good, why? But if you can't use cash.
Don't borrow money from strangers, guys. You just move it.
I don't mean strangers. Do I have to tell you, not strangers? You need to get stranger.
Listen. If you just move to a place, it's the first month at a job. You're already asking people for money.
No, don't like you. No, seriously. If you walk to me on the corridors, I will understand. But you couldn't walk to another person who doesn't look like you to ask them for money.
Wait, but what are we talking? Like, what do you mean? Sorry, guys. I just found that very funny. Like, what do you mean?
I can give you an example.
Yes.
So, a friend came from Ghana to work in Gothenburg, and then he hadn't been paid. So he asked for he asked us to borrow, to lend him some money.
Mm-hmm.
But we knew that he came for so and so job because like we knew where he worked.
Yes.
And he was renting our guest house, our guest room.
Okay.
So of course we could lend him some money.
Okay.
And then if we needed money,
that's a close connection. I understand.
So if we needed money in Ghana, he would pay back.
Okay.
Or when he was paid, because then he was going to receive his salary all at once. I mean, the months that he had
wasn't,
and then he would pay back. Like, not strangers.
But I guess what I'm saying is not everybody's going to be as lucky to find people like Salome who are willing to borrow people money. So just have that security to yes. I mean, I understand in instances where, for instance, you're at the shop. I think this also happened with me. I had my card, but at the place they could only take Swish, and you really helped me. So
it happened?
Yeah, when we went to the market the first.
So have people like me in your life.
Yeah, but not everybody's like Salome. So just try and sort yourself out. So do that. That was funny. And what else? You talked about Skatteverket.
Oh yes. So Skatteverket is one other place you should have in mind. That is the Swedish tax agency. So when you first come into the country, you need to go there for your ID card. And that is where you apply for your pension number.
Yeah, that's where you apply for your pension number.
So Skatteverket, that is a Swedish tax agency. And that is where you register yourself in Sweden. So as soon as you come into the country, I would say the next day you should go like find a place, find somewhere, or ask somebody if you don't have internet, if you haven't bought your SIM card yet, to find the nearest tax office. You should, and I'm sure that your migration agent, the person taking care of your case officer, is easily accessible by email. So you can reach them, the one who helped you with your visa and all of that. You can reach them and then they will assist you. Give you the address where the Skatteverket is, and then you can go and start with your registration. And this shouldn't be too long. Don't wait a week before you go.
Yeah, don't take too long. And what I absolutely loved about moving to Sweden, talking about the Skatteverket, I'm gonna give them a 5-star review because I had PTSD. I lived in Germany before, and I had PTSD going to any migration related offices because they were not willing to speak English, even though I knew those people spoke English. I love Germany, but the environment at the immigration's office was very hostile. You said it, not me.
You did not hear me.
Yeah, so, but everything has been, so even from Migrationsverket, they're very understanding, they're very communicative, they speak in in English, that's the language that I speak. And so was the case when I went to Skatteverket. It was my first time there. They explained everything to me. They're very good at.
Yeah, I think they're very welcoming.
They're very welcoming. Yeah. So no issues there. And another important one is to download the transport apps.
Yes.
So that you don't overspend. Because I think if you keep buying tickets, the price is a little bit higher than when you buy on the app. And I think because they promote that, they want more people perhaps to use the app, and you can just scan from your app and ride the bus or the
and
train.
If you come as a student, whether master's or PhD, you have a discount. So, and then before you use the discounts, make sure that you are registered with Mecenat. So Mecenat would give you other discounts as well in the different shops. If you want to buy clothes from H&M, or you want to buy shoes, electronics, whatever it is, Mecenat will give you. You have student discounts with Mecenat. So do well to download the transport app and register as a student with Mecenat.
Is there anything else?
Yes. Tap water is portable.
Yes.
You don't have to buy water from the shops because water is expensive, and tap water is portable. You can drink very cold water, and of course we don't keep water in the fridge because it's cold all the time. Even in the summer, the water coming from the tap is still cold. unless people who want very chilled water. I know people freeze water or buy it on ice cubes, cheap on ice cubes, whatever. But tap water is potable.
Yeah.
So Sweden and work-life balance, they take that very seriously, because your health is not just about eating properly, but taking rest.
Yeah.
Like, it's all round. All right. So know that it's not about slaving yourself or studying the whole time because you are scared that if you are not well rested, you cannot be productive. So do well, and remember to take rest. If you haven't watched the previous video, we talked about that. And be part of anything fika with your colleagues, whether in the workplace or with students. Don't think that they are lazy or they are taking too many breaks. It is really important. You will get to see, like you will come to see that it is very important, and it also helps you socialize. Okay, so your colleagues, you will find them asking you, what are you doing this weekend? What are you going to do? What did you do in the previous weekend? They want to see how sociable you are. Sometimes some people want to engage you or invite you out to events.
Exactly, and if you're new, this is where people will share information. This is the chance you get to ask them, where do I buy pods? Where do I go for A, B, and C? How do I go to, the healthcare centers? All of these important stuff that you might need information on. That's a perfect place to ask.
Yeah, talking about healthcare, I just remember this thing. If you're female and then you come into Sweden, you're going to get a letter from your local clinic, your board center, to go and use like the pap smear test.
Yeah, to do like a pap smear. For every female who arrives in Sweden.
That is really nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. And I don't know if this is like important to know, but I just thought about the second-hand shop.
Yes, it is very important when you just arrived. If you are environmentally conscious like us, visit the second-hand store.
And everything there is not just like second-hand and then it's so degraded.
People here for the most part don't sell or give away stuff that they themselves wouldn't be using.
Yeah.
So that's one thing you should know. I know back at home you just get rid of stuff you don't want anymore. People here, I think that's also something that we can talk about. Is it's something that they do in Sweden, they do that in Germany as well. When people move out, they can live like furniture and like just decorative pieces, whatever it is, they can leave it at the entrance of the apartment and you can take it. You don't have to buy it. If it's left there, you can take it. Anybody who wants it can
be careful.
Take it.
Some people are moving into the apartment and then they drop out their stuff. So be careful not to pay. Because I know in Uppsala there was a designated room where you could leave things like that. So it wasn't just out. Of course, like it depends on where you live. I've seen places also in Uppsala where people left it outside, and then when the rains came, then it was destroyed because nobody needed like a very good sofa or a bed, and it's just going to waste because nobody is taking that. But it's something I think for people who newly moved in, who you probably still need some appliances, this and that. I think that's a good place to look. I like to go there a lot. Like
I haven't been there in a while.
We should go.
Yeah, we should.
I need flower pots.
You see? We're gonna get flower pots at the second-hand store, and we're gonna show you when we come back because they're gonna be really good.
Yeah, it's nice to do a video.
We'll have a vlog and we'll take them to the second-hand shop to show you guys that it's really, they sell really nice stuff. That about sums it up for now.
Yes.
We will, if there's any more points that come to mind, we'll put it in the comment section. We'll have a conversation with you guys. Let us know what else you might want to know about moving here, things to consider before moving, or things to look out for just after you move, like the ones that we've already mentioned. Have a conversation, ask us questions, engage with us, and don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe and share the video with your friends, your family, and everyone you know so that we can grow this community. Yes, any parting words, Salome?
Like she said, like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to come to Sweden, of course, you can send a message on here on the comment section, and then we will reach out to you if you want to have a chat.
Yes.
You have any questions to ask? We would happily help you.
And if you ever find yourself in the north of Sweden, let us know. Okay, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Bye bye.